Hello everyone. Take two of making this video because when I pressed the button earlier it didn't start recording. So I was just talking for 10 minutes to no one. But oh well. So something has finally kind of happened in my transition. Well, not really specifically about my transition, but damn it, now I'm frustrated because I just recorded this video and, well, I thought I recorded this video, but it wasn't recording. So, something I wanted to talk about that came up in my last video and one of the subsequent posts I did on Facebook is when I first came out as trans, I came out as non-binary. And at the time, well, yeah, I guess at the time, I definitely didn't want to be seen as a guy. I didn't feel like a guy. I hate being addressed as such. And I kind of felt like I was in between the two quote-unquote ends of the spectrum, as a guy and a girl. And at least presentation-wise, how I want to look, how I want to be seen, it's definitely more towards the feminine end of the spectrum. And like when I was young, I would often imagine I would wake up the next morning as a girl. And I had dreams that that happened. And I kind of chalked it up. When I started thinking about this, I kind of chalked that up to I didn't really have the language at the time to think about being non-binary. And finally coming out and seeing people's reactions and seeing the relatively overall positive reaction, it kind of made me feel more comfortable to eventually acknowledge this and start to feel comfortable with telling people about this. But I do think I am more relating to the experiences of a trans woman, and I was starting to feel like that label would apply to me comfortably enough to where I would say I'm a trans woman. And over the past couple of months, one of my best friends has been calling me she and her when talking to me and talking about me. And that's felt really good. That's felt a lot more right than being called a he. And another experience last week that related to that was me and my mom went down to my brother's for Memorial Day. My sister-in-law's family was there. We walked into the door. We walked in, set all the food down, and I heard one of the little kids ask, "Who's that girl?" And I look over and she's looking right at me. I was busy putting food on the counter and putting it in the fridge, so I was a little busy. I'm not sure if anyone answered her, but that felt really good. That was kind of a light bulb moment for me, because that's the first time that happened, that it was kind of natural. It wasn't just someone calling me a girl or using feminine pronouns because they know that I prefer that. And throughout most of the rest of the day, she was using she and her when that could have been bad. When talking about me. Like everyone was downstairs. I went to the bathroom. I heard a knock on the door. I said I was busy, and then a minute later I walked out, and the girl and a couple of people were in there, and she looked over and was like, oh, she was in the bathroom. Or was like, oh, she was in the bathroom. And that felt really good. It felt completely natural. Her saying it, she said it completely naturally, and it felt natural to hear it. So that kind of made my weekend. And what else? The one thing about that kind of sucked was people who we were around, if they referred to me with a he or a him in front of her, I kind of died a little inside. It was like, that was good while it lasted. What really sucked is, like, towards the end of the day, she started calling me a he, and that really sucked. And let's see what else. I just talked about this stuff, and I can't even remember what I talked about a minute ago, or at least the order of everything I was talking about. Nope. I think the weekend before, I was with a couple of friends, and one of them came in with a bottle of wine because our glasses were empty, and all three of us finished off the previous bottle. And he kind of jokingly said, all these girls drinking all my wine. Yeah, I kind of chuckled on the outside, but on the inside I was like, holy crap, that is awesome. That feels right. It feels so good. So what else? Yeah, my memory sucks. I just talked about all this stuff before. Now it's already gone in my head. Trans stuff overall, and me transitioning and posting this on Facebook, it's not just to get attention or anything. It's to let people know what's going on with me, and I would rather them ask me directly about something instead of either getting radio silence or just getting really short answers or replies that don't really give me any feedback of how other people are feeling about it, because I would like to know what my friends and family think about this, even though what they say isn't necessarily going to change what I do or how I feel. But I would rather know where they're at in this. Jared might be home. One of the things that made me really start thinking about this was how I'm going with hormones. Before, when I first thought I might not be cis and I might be trans, I was like, there's no way I could physically look like someone who people would assume was a woman. For a while I was like, there's not even a way I'd be able to look a way it would make people unsure of my gender by looking at me. But recently, with a lot of the selfies I've been taking, I've realized that might be quite possible, at least to be androgynous, have an androgynous look where people weren't sure. And that kind of brought up the feelings I had about, I'm not really sure how to explain it, kind of brought up the feelings of relating to a trans woman again and realizing I may have hesitated in it as identifying as a trans woman because I didn't think I'd be able to quote unquote pass, which if people don't know, that's where you look close enough to a certain gender that most people wouldn't give it a second thought. Granted, I still have issues with my voice, which I feel like would make that really hard. But still. Another thing that's happened, Thursday I started feeling a little weird. Started coughing a bit. Started getting worse Friday afternoon, so Saturday I took a test and I found out I have COVID. Just took an at-home test Saturday. And then yesterday I went to the CVS drive-thru and did a better test. So I'm waiting on the results for that. I'm almost sure I have COVID, but just waiting on all those tests to have like an official confirmation in case work wants it or something. But it's Tuesday now. I haven't been to work yesterday or today. I'm not sure when I'm going back. I just heard earlier that someone else at work has it, so I'm really worried. I gave it to them Thursday. But what else? Damn it, that first video not recording really frustrates me, so I'm not sure what else to say. So yeah, I would much rather be addressed as a woman. I would much rather people use she, her pronouns for me. And I remember crap. Damn it, my brain just blanked again. I was gonna say something, I had it on the tip of my tongue, now I can't even remember what I was gonna say. It was something my mom said. There was a couple things, but I can't remember the first thing I was gonna say. I think about a month ago maybe, I was at my mom's and she pretty much asked, do you want to start living as a woman? And at that time I was kind of starting to think yes, or that I was starting to think in a way that my answer might have been yes, but I think at the time I just wasn't really ready to admit that even to myself. But the other day I talked to her about that question, and I said at the time I was slightly leaning towards yes, but I just wasn't ready to admit it yet, even to myself. But now I think I'm now to a point where that answer is a more definite yes, to the point where I'm making this video planning on making that public, saying I want people to use she, her pronouns for me, preferably refer to me as a girl to people. I mean, some trans people don't like the qualifier of saying they're a trans girl, but at least to me at this point it doesn't really bother me to say I'm a trans girl, or for other people to tell people that I'm a trans girl. But think that's about it. I just kind of decided to make this video just to see how it was talking about this stuff in a format like this. I'd much rather do videos like this rather than have the camera pointed straight at me talking. This feels a lot more comfortable. I feel like I can talk a lot freer this way. But if anyone has questions, friends, family, ask me. Don't just make assumptions, and please don't just go based off of what you may or may not already know, based on what media says and all that, because most of the times the media gets stuff wrong, or they have a biased viewpoint, and stuff like that. So I don't really think I've yet reached the limit on what I'm comfortable talking about, so far I'm pretty much an open book. I'd much rather know what people think than just not knowing at all. Knowing what people think isn't gonna change what I plan on doing, but I'd rather know their positions and work from there. I think this was a good video. I was sick of just laying in bed watching TV, so I thought I'd get out here and actually do something semi-productive. So yeah, I'm apparently going to be living as one of those stereotypical trans girls. For a while I thought I was non-binary, and I kind of later realized it was kind of a stepping stone just to be able to come out as trans and start being more who I am without it feeling as much of a huge thing as I felt like calling myself a trans girl, a trans woman was. So that's it for today, I think. I'm gonna go in, probably take a shower and go to sleep. Bye, everyone.